Welcome back to The Takeout. A new book by renowned Nevada political journalist Jon Ralston looks at the rise and ascendancy within Washington of the late Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid and the historic record he left behind in that chamber and on national politics, for good and maybe sometimes for ill. The book's title, The Game Changer, How Harry Reid Remade the Rules and Showed Democrats How to Fight. Here is part of my conversation with the author. Jon, first question. The topic of this book is Harry Reid. Did Harry Reid hate you?
I don't know if Harry Reid hated anybody. He had a lot of disdain for people, but hate, I don't know. He always said there was a mutual respect and that he only got mad at me because I wrote about his family or attacked his family, which what he meant by that, Major, was that I'd written columns saying that he used his influence to help members of his family accomplish certain things, which shockingly I thought was a story, and he didn't. And I think it was much more about Landra Reid, his wife, who was very protective of the family, even more so than Harry Reid. And so did Landra Reid hate me at one time? That I can't speak to.
He did try to get you fired. He
succeeded eventually. He tried to get me fired several times from a TV station job that I had, which the irony of this, Major, is that his good friend Jim Rogers, a media mogul who owned a bunch of stations in the Southwest, owned that station, hired me, and then when Reid got mad at me, he went to Rogers to get me fired. Rogers actually fired me for an afternoon before I persuaded him to let me back on the air before the show aired. But then after Rogers passed away and Sinclair purchased the station and had their license there pending, Reid went to them and said, get rid of this guy. And I found emails that show that they felt the pressure.
And yet this book exists with access that no one else has had to Harry Reid's private papers because Harry Reid said, you're the one who should write it. I don't understand that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand that. I lobbied people close to Reid for years. And I mean, maybe more than a decade, Major, to let me do this book. You covered politics in Nevada. You know this. Reid is the most fascinating guy ever to be in Nevada politics in the modern era. And so I wanted to write the definitive biography. And as people kept giving me the stiff arm, he and I had, as you already alluded to, a roller coaster of our relationships. Finally, after he was out of office in 2021, when he went to work for the biggest casino company, that's how these things work, yes, in Nevada, at MGM, and he had an office in the Bellagio on the Strip, and he summoned me there and said, I've decided to let you do the book. You and I have something in common. We're both survivors. And I holstered my usual instinct to retort, no thanks to you, am I a survivor, sir? Because I wanted the contract to do the book. And so he said, I know I'm not going to like everything in the book, but you're the guy to tell the story, and so let's get started.
Did that create for you at any level an emotional conflict?
Because he had tried to get me fired?
Yes.
No, you know.
And because of your tangles. And not only trying to get you fired, but you guys would spar on the phone, and not happily so.
Yeah, and even on my show, when he did come on, we sparred. I think I was so eager to write the book, Major, that I was able to do what Harry Reid was sometimes able to do, which was think, in the Godfather movie's words, not personal, just business. Yeah. And I knew that's how Reid thought about it. And he had made several kind of overtures to me during the years to make it clear that he didn't care what I wrote about him. It was about his kids. And it clear to me from people near him that it was Landra driving that whole thing. But, you know, I wanted to do the book. I thought he was a fascinating guy to write about, and I didn't even know the half of it when I started.
So just picturing this in my mind, it feels almost cinematic, summoning you to the Bellagio. I'm gathering it was not a small ante-room. It was a rather large office, some of the grandeur of politics accumulated in a life at the highest levels. Did you feel at any time in that conversation that he was bestowing this upon you and therefore you owed him something in return?
He never really behaved that way, although I like you using the word cinematic. Let's hope there's a movie in this at some point, Major. I have to.
I'm totally available.
Yes, there is a role. I have to tell you, he never really behaved that way. The way that Harry Reid was, you've read the story, maybe you've even experienced the hang-ups, that Reid would just hang up on people. After he had the initial conversation out of the way and we were going to do it, it was just on to business and how are we going to do this? And
what are
when
the
can we
logistics?
start? Yeah, what are the logistics? I said, well, sorry, I do need to get a publisher. I'm not doing this on spec. And then he mentioned that, do we need a contract on this? And I said, I don't think so, but he never asked for any preconditions, never said anything like that.
In 21st century politics in America, Harry Reid matters. Why?
Well, he matters because he became the most powerful Democrat on Capitol Hill, as you well know. And he matters because of all that he accomplished nationally. I don't think Obamacare would have passed without Harry Reid doing what he did and some other major legislation. But he also matters, Major, and he was not really that forthcoming about this part of it. He was part of why the Senate started to go downhill, I think, and the dysfunction, because he was willing to say anything at any time, not just in a press conference, not just in the stakeout, but on the Senate floor.
But on the Senate floor.
And he did.
Where historically there had been guardrails about what you did or didn't do.
And I think that this is one of the, I talk about the duality of Harry Reid in the book, and there's a lot to talk about there. But this great institutionalist who knew the Senate rules and decorum better than anybody was willing to break it if it was going to help him get to an end goal, whether it was tarring Mitt Romney as not paying taxes or attacking the Koch brothers, which he also did on the Senate floor, as you know. So, but listen, he mattered. He got a lot done, and he mattered in Nevada. I make the argument in the book that he's the most powerful elected official in Nevada history, and there's a few competitors maybe, but he did more for the state than anyone has ever done.
You can catch my full conversation with Jon Ralston on your favorite podcast platform.